let's talk about macro gameplay, not economics. Oh, hey. And we have a mister. Hello. He says hi. A lot of times, I get comments on my videos where people ask me to create some sort of macro tutorial because there aren't enough out there. And while I agree, I also realize that the people who need the macro tutorials aren't the people that are watching the macro tutorials. And then I think about it further and I'm like, well, anytime there is a macro tutorial or some sort of educational content put out there about Unite, I still watch it. And even if I am not necessarily in need of all of the beginner tips and tricks of whatever is happening, I still feel like I learned something. So I'm taking a different approach here with this next series that I'm going to be doing, where I'm going to be talking about macro gameplay in terms of the different roles in Pokemon Unite. Now, competitive Pokemon Unite is different than solo Pokemon Unite, and I'm going to be talking about the roles in terms of competitive, but from a solo queue perspective. What that means is sometimes a defender isn't necessarily a defender. Sometimes Blastoise is playing as a carry, a damage dealer. Sometimes it's playing as a defender. So that's what I mean when I'm going to take that into consideration. Macro goes beyond show up to Ray, have your Unite move, go to objectives, play with the team, whatever. There's a lot of in-the-moment decision-making that tends to happen with macro gameplay that a lot of times flies under the radar in some of those very broad tutorials. So I'm going to try to mitigate that by going as in-depth as possible. And to do that, I'm going to look at games that I've played, and I'm going to talk through every single decision that I make within those games, why I made that decision, and what to consider about those decisions beyond, hey, have a Unite move, here's when you use it. So for the first instance of this series, I'll be talking about a Lapras game. So I'm going to be talking about the tank role. Already, notice my composition. I have a lot of carries, a lot of damage dealers. I'm really the front line for this team, so I have to make sure that I am playing my tank role to the fullest. Early game is one of those solved things. You head up to the top path. I am with this Fletchling. You know what, I'm just going to turn off that sound because I think it's going to be way too loud and drown out my voice. But my goal is going to be to get them to level 5. So here's the first thing. The first macro decision I make. We know you go up here, you take all of the birds, or the bumblebees, and then you go for a contested one. Talonflame is not stacking, or at least they're not trying to stack early, so this is actually great for us. I come around the farm to the opposite side because I don't know where they're going to be coming from. This hasn't been touched yet, so either they haven't made it down here or they're chilling right here. And I'm going to try to block them from being able to take this. Now, you're going to see that Fletchling doesn't really know that I'm trying to do this. Since they're the damage dealer, they should likely be coming in from this side. We can just flank the farm together, but they have kind of followed me over to this side. We see they now come in. I am soaking up a lot of their damage. I'm going to look for the secure, but unfortunately, Fletchling uses their move to try to go after them. Fletchling should have been using their move for secure. Notice I don't have level 3 yet, so my secure move of Ice Shard is not yet available, so they should have saved their secure move for that. Instead, they have gone in too deep, and now there's not really much I can do besides try to soak up some of this damage. I try to soak up the damage. Fletchling now realizes they are low. They have to run away. Both of them are looking to chase this Fletchling. There's a couple things I could do. I could try to chase them back down, distract them from Fletchling, but look how low they are and look how low they are. Fletchling is not making it out of this, and I have special attack specs to stack. So my decision here is going to be to just stack. I know that Fletchling's going to go down. They do go down. They are going to get some points over here and take our farm, but that also means that I'm going to be able to take their farm, and Fletchling honestly made a bad decision. At that point, there's not too much I can do for them. Now I'm going to wait to use my secure move. I am luckily able to secure that away. I get a third stack. And now I walk in here. So Fletchling comes back, jumps in on Ceruledge again. So they're running it down, and they really shouldn't be. But I come in, I try to look for secure. I don't get it. Ceruledge gets it. They are now evolved, but they are low health. So I am going to try to chase them down here. and make sure that they end up going down. Which wasn't that hard. They do that. I'm able to get level 5. And right now, I have pretty much lost all hope for this fletchling because all they've done is run it down. But at this point, with 9 minutes on the clock, 10 seconds until 850s, Ceruledge is down. They're going to be respawning in a moment. And I'm seeing their jungler has now shown up. Pikachu is here. I'm moving kind of this way to see what vision I can get because I'm seeing that my jungler has headed bottom. So if I can find out where their jungler is, then we have a better chance. So I'm getting some vision, and I'm just hoping that fletchling is going to come back up here. I see Pikachu. I am not going to go further. I'm going to X speed away because fletchling isn't quite here yet. They're still moving up, so I'm going to back away. And I don't want to lose my focus band, so I run. Fletchling's coming back. I see that my team is looking like they're winning bot right now. So I take a berry. I see that fletchling's level 4, not even close to 5. So all I can do here, I know that this is going to be a 3-on-2, and I know that this fletchling is not making the best decisions, and they're also not a high enough level to fight here. So I'm going to focus on being on our side instead of, remember, in the early part of the game where I came down here and I went around. Instead, I am staying here and I'm coming from this way instead of trying to wrap around and push them to my side. Jeez. Instead of trying to wrap around here and push the birds over to my side for us to get easier, I know that we are at a disadvantage, so I'm not going to do that in this case. I'm just going to try to look for some secures. I'm going to go forward a little bit. Pikachu is low. Unfortunately, fletchling once again walked. So Ceruledge now is back. We're going to jump on fletchling. Unfortunately, again, fletchling for some reason engages. Here. But I go down. Not too much that we can do about that in this case. It was 3-on-2. Fletchling dove. I went a little bit too deep there. So going too deep there ends up getting me taken down. But I am level 5. Not too bad. Now, something else to notice here is at this point, I have gone down, I have respawned, and I am making my way back into the top path. Now, there is a case where something like this would happen, and you would want to instead start making your way to the bottom path. And that would be if your team is winning up here and losing down here. But my team seems to be winning bottom because they had a 3 versus 2 down there, and they were in the advantage. So going back top is my best bet because the last time I was up there, it was still a 3-on-2. So that's where I'm going to go. Fletchling, not level 5. They get it here. So they are level 5, but look how low their health is. And Ceruledge, level 6. And Tree is scoring, so they are going to get level 5 here, and I know that. So I'm just going to try to protect my now Fletchender. I'm going to do my best to protect them. Try to prevent Ceruledge from coming in. Luckily, Fletchender gets out. But now that I'm on my pad, I am not going to want to engage here. I'm level 5, my teammate's level 5, and they are level 6 and 5. So I'm not going to want to engage besides just to push them out, potentially. Fletchender gets a little bit of health back. I'm going to move a little bit into them. I get the Woodhammer out from Trevenant. They hit another Woodhammer. I'm looking for a secure here on this piece of farm. It might have been better for me to wait on that piece of farm until they walked away. But unfortunately, they did stay. So they're going to come in. Luckily, my teammate gets that piece of farm. And now I can put a little bit more pressure on this Ceruledge. And what I have effectively done here is Ceruledge walks away. They're going to secure that farm. I'm not going to be too worried about it anymore. But by walking over here like this, I have now forced Trevenant into our side while Ceruledge can't get back to them without first going through me. So I'm putting myself between the two enemies, and maybe we can pick off one of them. Cerulege decides to back off because they don't want to go back through me. Fletchinger decides to engage again for some reason. Trevenant's focus band now pops. At this point, it's up to you, I guess, if you want to continue to fight, because their focus band did pop here. And we don't know where Cerulege went. So I'm going to go in a little bit more. I see that Cerulege came around here. You saw them head into this bush. So I'm not going to go too far. I don't want to get caught out. I know they're here. They have Phantom Force. And since I forced them to engage on me, I now have an upper hand, which is a great position to be in. I'm not going to get them. But if they stayed a little longer, I could have. Notice how low they are. If I chase here and look for them, I could take them out. It's very possible that I could take them out here, but then I get caught by Tree, or I don't get them because Tree shows up, and then I just get caught. Because, look at the minimap. Fletchinger left. They're going to take jungle. They are behind, so that makes sense to me. They're heading back to jungle. I just gotta defend pad. At this point, I have decided to stay top because I know that 2 are likely up here, and my team is winning bot, so it's possible that they could all start to come up. So I don't want to leave top open and head bot to secure an objective down here when I know that they might be losing and they might want to come back up here. So instead, I'm going to stay. I see that there's still 2 here. I'm going to look for secures. Trevenant does a good job here of flanking me. They're coming around the backside, so they're kind of doing what I did earlier. And they're going to push me into Cerulege, who we also saw is still here. So I'm looking for secures, and I kind of walked right into the Trevenant trap here. Luckily, I am able to get out because I have XP, but they did a really good job of flanking me. I probably should not have gone in that deep to begin with, because they are higher level than me, and there's 2 of them, and my entire team is bottom. I probably should have just hung out on pad. But now my focus band pops again. I don't have much to defend myself with. And there is now 3 top. So I was right in saying that since we won bottom, they would likely come top. Here's Pikachu. They've shown back up. Trevenant is fighting me. Cerulege is fighting me. Pikachu's going to look for a score. I am now seeing that my Talonflame has went bot and my Scizor has come top. I made the mistake of letting them flank me, so my focus band is down. Not that I would be likely able to fight all 3 of them anyway, because I'm not level 7 yet. But I'm going to try to defend. They break with the Pikachu points, and then I will decide instead to back up. I don't want to go down here, because I don't want them to have access to tier 2. Now, Scizor is up. Scizor has level 6, not level 7. They are about to make a really bad decision, because they are about to run into 3 who are higher level. So they're going to do that. I'm going to realize that the Scizor is doing that. They run up. Pikachu hits them. Cerulege goes in with a Phantom Force. I back out. They're going to go down. I can't do anything to help them. They made an awful play by trying to run it down there. They should have known that there's vision. At this point, we win bot. 3-on-2. Scizor's going to come back up. And I'm going to stay top. Now, the reason I'm staying top is because I'm going to defend this Alecki. There's a couple things that could happen here. Alecki walks and they walk with it. Alecki walks and they leave. Or Alecki walks and they head bot. Now, the 2 likely options are either they push or they head bot. My team is going onto their pad and trying to score right now. So if they go bot, that doesn't look great for us, because they will likely catch everybody on my team down here trying to score. But if they push with all 3 onto my pad and they have enough points, or they are able to get enough points, then that's worse, because we open up that goal zone and we don't want that to happen. So I decide to stay top. I don't know when the sound came back on the video, but hopefully it didn't drown out my voice too much. I'm not recording this again. Nobody comes to push Alecki. Talonflame heads top to score, and they're not there. So they didn't do this, and they didn't do this. They must have done this. However, I could immediately abandon and head bottom, knowing that that's where they're likely to be, but I will not get there in time. Even with my X speed up, which it is up now, I'm not going to be able to get there in time because I don't have my Unite move yet, and I'm just going to be walking into the middle of the fight when it happens. If I guessed a little earlier that they would be heading bottom and I left Scizor up here by themselves, that would probably have been the best play. But if you saw the Scizor earlier, they don't really know how to make the optimal play, so I didn't want to leave them alone. So I just decided to rip with them. And we do see that, yes, they are all heading bottom. They take down Matang. They will look at breaking that goal zone now. Armarouge shows up. And at this point, I think that we have lost spot. There's 4 down there. And I don't think that us walking in is worth it. I think at this point, farming is going to be more worth it. Could I be wrong? Yes. But because they could have also continued pushing, and that might have been bad if I was sitting there farming, but they didn't. So it ended up being fine, but we did lose bot goal. Now I'm going to push toward this tier 1. Let's take a look. Armarouge has 22 in his score shield. Gardevoir was not yet level 9. So I know that I might be able to push in a little bit on them. And everyone on their team moved back up to their top path, and they are now fighting 2 of us in the central area. So scoring some points here is not a bad call. Guardy, we see here, ticks into level 9. So Guardy now has an ult, and they are about to realize that we are fighting here, and they're likely gonna start coming down. So here's where I make a really bad decision. I almost get 30, and instead of backing up, I try again. This could have been very bad because Guardy just got an ult, and if they pop it right now, we're done. And that's not ideal. Instead, we get super lucky because Armarouge goes to fight them, and Talon shows up and takes down the Guardy, so it ends up working out, and I also get another stack. And now, even though Cerulege has showed up, they showed up too late. So their Guardy not using ult in that situation hurts them actually so bad because we were able to break, and now Cerulege can't really do anything against us, even with their full heal. Pikachu comes in, we take down Cerulege, and now that they've all shown back up, I have my Unite move, and I can leave, which I will do. And I want to save Armarouge as well, so I'm going to grab them, and we're going to head out. Item, I head out. We're going to leave. We are going to look for now farm. This is the part of the game where it's just the best thing for a tank to do, to just start looking for vision, farm up where you can, and I'm always considering where I can get last hits to charge back up my Unite move. Now, here's where I make a kind of questionable decision. I go to take our jungle as the defender. That's not really the call that a defender will usually make. Usually you don't want that experience going to your defender. So that is a questionable choice. However, I am seeing that my team, 3 of my team members, are in the top path scoring uncontested. So the enemy team has not yet arrived. Since they have not yet arrived, I am under the assumption that they are in the bottom path. We saw them down there use a lot of Unite moves. Remember, and I had to use mine. I am assuming they are in this bottom path, and they are going to rip this off the map as soon as it spawns. So I have a second or 2 to grab jungle just for some last hits to build up my Unite move. A little bit questionable, but you have to also know what macro decisions are good at the time. So let's continue. I am still not seeing the enemy top, so I'm still under the assumption that they are bot. We get the confirmation now that they are bot. Pikachu secures that. We have a pretty good opportunity to grab this here. And here's what I'm going to do. I have assumed now that they are bot. We haven't seen a single one of them top, but we can only assume that they're going to head up there. So they're going to come up. I don't know what Scissor's doing, but they're going to come up and they're going to try to steal this. So I need to zone for my Armourouge. That's the job of the tank here. I'll throw an Ice Beam to get some extra damage, and then I'm going to move into their goal zone. We see Ceruledge is now arrived. We don't see anybody else yet, but Ceruledge has now arrived. Metagross is about to break even, and I'm going to try to zone. Metagross and Talonflame should probably be trying to help Armourouge secure here. So them getting into this fight with me and Ceruledge is not a great call, because now on the minimap we see Pikachu is also coming up, likely have a Unite move or about to get one because of the last time we saw them use it. And my team is running backwards now from this fight directly into where the Pikachu is going to come up. So I'm going to stay, continuing my zoning. And now my team has realized that Pikachu's also there and they have to try to get away. I'm going to go down because I was zoning Ceruledge, but we got the objective, so me going down here is not bad. What's bad here is that my team continues this fight. I go down, that's not a big deal. My team all going down here is not what you want. That is not ideal. That is less than ideal. You don't want to see that. We got the objective. They know that the entire enemy team is coming up. They should have backed up immediately. At this point, though, we are able to get 40 points in from Scizor. They're going to get it there backhebbing. They get 35 because of the Sableye. That's fine. Trevenant fights us a little bit, and I back off. So does Metagross. We both back off. I decide to prioritize farm. The reason for that is because Trevenant is low health, and if they walk toward our goal zone, if they go this way, they walk and try to cap, Armourouge is there. So they're not going to be getting anything done. They are going to be forced to either back up or come back through us or try to go around, like try to go back through center or something like that, because they're not going to be able to get through Armourouge. Instead, the Trevenant tries to re-engage us here, and I'm going to back up because now my Scizor has arrived. I'm going to leave because Scizor showed up. And I run into Sableye. And then I'm going to see that they take down Trevenant. I expected that to happen. I don't need to also be there if I can get vision and stop another flank from happening, which is exactly what I did. I saw Sableye, I forced them to back up, and now we can just continue to focus on some farm. Metagross is following me. They're doing a pretty good thing here by just staying near their tank. They know I have EXP share, and they're only level 11, so them getting more experience is really, really needed. Now, level 13 Ceruledge shows up. They also want this farm, but they are by themselves. Notice the timer, 3:16. This is about the last time that I can use my Unite move before Ray. So I see that, and I go for it. Ceruledge and Ceruledge, a KO on Ceruledge here would be really, really valuable for my Metagross because they are 2 levels down from this Ceruledge. So I decide to use my Unite move. Metagross decides the same thing, and we are able to get that KO. Metagross getting the KO is huge. That puts them up like an entire level because of the catch-up experience. And now that it's 3:07, I'm just going to have to try to farm back up my Unite move. However, Metagross continues the fight. Why? I don't know. This is a win for us. We got a big KO. Metagross should leave and start focusing on farming back their ult. But Pikachu and Sableye show back up. So of course they're going to fight them. And in this case, I try to help my entire team. Well, not my entire team, but Armourouge also shows up. Metagross goes down, and I'm about half health. I see this Pikachu, but Armourouge is also low. They back up, so I'm not going to chase. It's important to remember when to chase and when not to chase. I'm too low, and I don't want to lose my focus band before Ray. That's going to be a big thing. I don't want to lose that focus band, so I want to make sure that I don't get low enough to pop the focus band. So instead, I'm just going to farm back my ult. That's the best thing I could do in this case. We were able to get out of that situation without losing Armourouge, but we did lose Metagross, which is not good. They should not have engaged in that fight. Now, here's the difficult part. This is another difficult decision-making thing. I'm looking for last hits, so I'm here. We have an objective here, spawning soon, an objective here, spawning soon, and we know that they are bottom. So if it's my choice, I'm never gonna go bottom because I don't want to risk losing team members down there. So my ideal situation would actually be to head top since we know that they are bottom. Give them that objective, and we take this one, put a little bit of map pressure on, get a little bit of experience, and 2 of my team members have decided that that's the right play, but the other 2 are heading bottom. So I decide last minute I'm gonna flip and head bottom, because also I've seen that we're not going for this objective, and it's just Trevenant up here fighting the Talonflame. So I'm thinking that the team is going to end up coming bottom. So that's what my choice ends up being. I'm gonna look for this bottom fight and see if I can help my team. We get Gardevoir ult, which is huge. We're able to get Gardevoir away from the rest of their team. Pikachu did go down, so we're at a huge advantage right now in this fight. So we look for Gardevoir. Eventually we are able to get them, but now Trevenant has arrived and Ceruledge has arrived. So we have to be careful. Talon's in way too deep right now. They should have backed up. Trevenant gets the secure on that objective, and Armarouge is very low. Let's look for a second. I am gonna move forward because Talonflame moved forward. I don't like that play, but I can't lose Talonflame right now. Look at the clock, 2:04. We cannot lose Talon. Metagross is dead. Scizzor's not here, and Armarouge is almost dead. I go for a little bit of a secure just to see if I might be able to take it, but Trevenant takes it. I throw an Ice Beam. Armarouge walks up. That is not a good play at all. Armarouge is too low to walk forward. They should not have done that at all. Unfortunately, they do. So they walk forward. They're too low health. I decide at this point that I can't help this Armarouge. They made a really bad decision, and if I follow them and try to go for this tree, then that's going to be really detrimental to me as well. So my goal is now get Talonflame out. Luckily, they decide to get out, and I leave this Armarouge for dead. That's just a decision I decided to make because they stepped forward, and they really should not have stepped forward in that situation because they were way too low of health, and that Trevenant was full health with a Reggie buff. So that's not what you want to do. This is where it's one of those games where you can't just be like, show up to Ray and use your ult. Because we're not in the Ray pit. Nobody's in the Ray pit because the fight happens to break out here. And if you're the team that decides to pull that trigger and go for the fight in this position, then you might be in a better situation than if you tried to all go toward the pit. So right now, I'm trying to go towards the pit because I don't really want to fight down here since they're all down here. And if Trevenant realizes that we're all here still, then they're going to be able to take down Armarouge and pivot immediately onto us. And I don't want that to happen. But Scizor has other plans. I throw an Ice Beam because I figured they would be following me. Scizor jumps in on 2. Bad play. Don't do that. But I decide to make the snap decision that if we can get somebody here, if we can make sure Scizor doesn't go down, or at least distract for long enough, then Metagross is going to be able to come back. Armarouge is going to go down, so we're distracting them with Armarouge. Talon might be able to reset, and we might have a better chance. So I don't want to leave this Scizor. So they use 2 ults on Scizor. And I decide in that split second, I think we can get somebody here. Because Scizor is still half. They're in a pretty good spot. There's now 3 fighting them because Sableye's also here, we can see. I decide I'm pulling the trigger. I'm going for my Unite move. I'm going to follow up with this Scizor because Trevenant's not here. They're still dealing with Armarouge down there. And I'm going to go for it. I luckily am able to hit, and I take down Pikachu. I get a huge Ice Beam on Ceruledge and Sableye. Scizor should back out right now, but of course they do not. They get stunned by the Sableye Unite move. They get stunned by the Trevenant Unite move. And now is a little bit of a weird situation because we are now all fighting this Trevenant, and that's probably not what should be happening. But I don't want to leave my team, I guess. That's probably not what should be happening. But we have to make sure that they also are not doing Ray. So I look at Ray. They're not doing Ray. Okay, I have the time. Throw an Ice Beam because I saw the Sableye. I make a decision here to reset because I'm low health. I could be argued, someone could argue with me on that decision and say that wasn't the best decision. But I reset. I'm not going to be in the best condition to continue the fight unless I'm full health. I did walk through the Sableye Feint Attack there, so I saw where Sableye was headed. Their head bottom. I pinged that goal zone. Luckily, Scizor listens to me. They're able to stop Sableye. Now, I look for vision. I come up here. I don't know where they are anymore, but I know that these two are alive, so I look for them. I go in to look in this bush. I throw an Ice Beam. I see them both. They throw some moves on me. I can see Metagross is... Jeez. I can see Metagross is ready to follow up. So I'm going to be able to back out. That's exactly what Focus Band is for. We see Sableye come through the worst possible situation. So luckily we're able to get a pick here on the Sableye. And now there's 3 of them. 2 of them are very squishy, and 1 of them is decently squishy. Pikachu hits a good Thunderbolt combo, and I'm, again, pretty low, but they're not hitting Ray yet, so I'm going to back up. I see them start to tap Ray, but it looks like we're backing up. Scizor goes to back cap, and Metagross goes down. So this is very dangerous because of the decision that Scizor made to go back cap here. Now I may not have made a great decision. And I also see Armarouge is very low. I get there just in time to make sure that Ceruledge goes down before Armarouge does. But they are wounded, so I think they might go down, but they are able to stay alive. Scizor successfully gets a back cap off. And now again, the back capping here, probably not the play. If I had seen Scizor going to back cap, I never would have based in that situation because we definitely need the numbers. But luckily, their team overextended onto our Armarouge, and we were able to stop them. Talon goes down. Scizor is now showing back up to pit, and it's 30 seconds on the clock. We know that we're winning, and we have 30 seconds left. And nobody has hit Ray, so there's really no reason for their team to start right now. Especially because Ceruledge is down. They really don't have Rip. Their goal is going to be to score. So I ping this down here. I ping the bottom path for Armarouge to go defend. And now I'm going to be looking to defend top. I see Pikachu running top path. Trevenant's trying to prevent me from getting there. And now I'm going to freeze them and try to head top. I see Scizor able to get there first. So Scizor gets there first. They're going to fight Pikachu. I look at Ray because I got to make sure that nobody's hitting Ray. And all we have to do at this point is defend. The question is, do I go top and help the Scizor, or do I head bot because Trevenant's about to head down there? In this situation, I decide to go bot because I assume that Scizor will be able to beat the Pikachu. Luckily, they do, and luckily that was the right decision because Armarouge does head bot and Tree does show up there. Now all we have to do is defend. Tree heads down there. No one's hitting Ray. I know Sableye is going to show up. And here's where it ends up being a little bit unfortunate. So, I'm down here. Metagross respawns. We are fighting Trevenant. The only one on the map we can't see is Sableye. Metagross jumps bot. Metagross, if we ended up losing this game because of the points that Sableye ends up scoring here, that's on Metagross. They needed to sit pad and wait to see Sableye. If they looked at us and looked at our health, they would know that we would be able to beat Trevenant. So they don't have to worry about it. Instead, in the top path, Sableye uses their ult and sends Scizor back, and they end up scoring. They ping gather here again because Metagross should not have jumped bot. They should have waited, saw where Sableye was, and jumped to defend against Sableye. But they got 56 points in the end. That's the Sableye way. And we do end up winning this match. I ended up doing the most damage on the team as the tank. That doesn't usually happen. This was a game where I was brawling just a little bit more than the rest of the team, but the damage numbers really aren't everything. They're not super important with tanks or anything like that, but the decisions that I was making are always kind of centered more around what's going to be best for the team in that moment. And we saw a lot of the time that these, that a lot of things are quick thinking. It's not just we showed up in the pit and we won and that was the game. This was one of those games where we don't get Ray, and if we didn't make the decisions that we made and took the fight to the bottom path, then we wouldn't have actually won that game. So keep those things in mind. Let me know if you have questions, if you want to talk about anything that happened in this video. Let me know if this type of video is something that you think is valuable. And yeah, look out for the next part of this series, and I will see you all next time. Bye!